Welcome to Cosmic Scene with Jill Jardine. I'm your host, Jill Jardine, Master's in Counseling Psychology, professional astrologer, psychic healer, and yogi. Get ready for Planetary Paradigm Shift Part 2 as Neptune transits into Aries, leaving Pisces, where it has transited since 2011. Neptune in Aries historically coincides with periods of radical, spiritual, and ideological change. Hey listeners, I want to remind you to support Cosmic Scene with Jill Jardine podcast. You can do that by going on to www.buzzsprout.com/958-528/support. This will be in the show notes. Welcome to the episode on Neptune transiting Aries. It's the second planetary player in the 2025 astrological shift, preceded by the lunar nodal shift in January 2025 and followed by Saturn transiting Aries in May of 2025. These shifts will affect us personally and collectively as two outer planets, both changing signs into Aries, heralds new energies pouring into the collective. Neptune will transit into Aries from March 30th, 2025 to October 22nd, 2025 for the precursor of what will come when Neptune is firmly ensconced in Aries from January 26, 2026 through March 23rd, 2039. That's a long haul with Neptune in Aries. And remember, the first 3 years, these little dip the foot into the fire of Aries for basically the spring and summer of 2025, and then the step back into Pisces of both Neptune and Saturn will give us a time to integrate what will be coming in the years 2026 through 2039. And remember, 2026 to 2028, Saturn will be hand in hand with Neptune in the beginning and throughout the first few years. So we'll really see what this fiery energy is all about. To give you some historical perspective, the last time Neptune transited through Aries was from 1862 to 1875, over 150 years ago. Historically, Neptune in Aries has coincided with periods of radical spiritual and ideological change. We saw this in the 1860s when causes like abolitionism drove the Civil War. And also the previous time that Neptune transited Aries in the late 1800s, it brought to light humanity's impulsiveness as translated into its tendency to war, such as the American Civil War and the Franco-Prussian War that occurred during that time, as well as burgeoning creativity to invent, as the inventions of the printing press, the camera obscura, typewriter, machine gun, dynamite, and other things were discovered, as well as the determination to discover genetics. Where are we from? Science of genetics. The opening of the New York Stock Exchange in 1865 and the first tube, London's Tower subway, opened in 1872 during this cycle. There was also a sense of urgency to everything. The sign Aries is not patient. People needed to be constantly on the move, doing something. Thus, they became anxious and impatient as only some things could move at the time at the same speed. Remember, this is pre-cars. Selfishness existed, of course, but Neptune redirected this characteristic, awakening people an incessant need to achieve their goals and get answers to their inner turmoil. So we're going to see that again. Maybe people being anxious, impatient, selfish, and trying to achieve goals because of the inner turmoil, or in the case of the current times, the outer turmoil in the world. Neptune in Aries transit previously aimed to infuse spirituality. Neptune is a spiritual or glamour planet with the bold energy and impulsiveness of fiery Aries. During this period, people were more sensitive and had clear-cut ideals and goals, even with the elusive Neptunian influence. As a result, many became trailblazers in philosophical thought or fervent adherents of radical religions, sometimes driven to convert others with a crusader-like zeal. Throw in Neptunian confusion, and people were wrapped up in spiritual delusions while fighting for their truth as being the one and only right religion. That's Aries. I'm first, I'm best. Everybody else can step aside. So we're going to see a returning of this energy. And to get an idea of what were the religious movements that emerged out of the previous Neptune and Aries transit in the late 1800s, there was the Second Great Awakening, which was a big religious revival that sparked a rise in church membership marked by emotional camp meetings and evangelical preaching aimed to make a heaven on earth. Other religious movements, such as Adventism, a religion emphasizing the second coming or second advent of Jesus Christ, showed up, as did dispensationalism. Try to say that 5 times fast, which proposes that God has a specific plan for humanity, which unfolds through different areas or dispensations as revealed in the Bible. That doesn't seem to still be around at all. Maybe it goes under a different name. And the Latter-day Saint movement, LDS, or commonly known as the Mormons, gained influence during that time. But there was also some less evangelical and more spiritual esoteric movements that arose during Neptune's last transit in Aries, including spiritualism, the Theosophical Society, which sprouted Theosophy, Rosicrucianism, and the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. All of these I'm familiar with, and for those who may not know what spiritualism, it sprung up at the end of the late 1800s with mediums and seances surging in society, trying to validate their belief that the soul survives after death and can be contacted and communicated through a living medium. Where I live in New England, there are still many spiritualist churches, and I know quite a few people who have been ministers in those. And again, it's that belief that the people who have passed, the dead, are just waiting for someone who can contact and communicate and relay their messages to the loved ones or relatives left behind. The Theosophical Society, I was exposed to that in the 1980s. I really liked their teachings. It was an esoteric religious movement that came forth from India, pioneered by Helena Blavatsky, also known as Madame Blavatsky, with beliefs influenced by Hinduism, Buddhism, and Neoplatonism. Theosophy emphasizes the interconnectedness of beings and the universe, promoting universal brotherhood and belief in reincarnation and karma, with the goal of spiritual evolution and enlightenment. So that was way New Age, pre-New Age, back in the late 1800s, with people in the Theosophical Society following the beliefs of reincarnation and karma. That's why I liked it so much in the 80s, because there wasn't a lot of other teachings besides the Hindu and the Buddhist teachings about reincarnation and karma. The Theosophical people also believe that there are advanced souls called ascended masters who once walked the earth in human bodies and are now helping humanity from the higher planes. Some examples of ascended masters are Jesus Christ, Buddha, Krishna, Mother Mary, and others. So those were all movements that came out of the last Neptune in Aries cycle. We do see there was a rise of both the preachy evangelical type of religions and the more spiritual or universal religions. So we have that to look forward to, for better or for worse. Planetary transits have long been revered as powerful indicators of cosmic energy, shaping human experience and collective evolution. Neptune is a slow-moving outer planet, so its transit of approximately 14 years in each sign is generational in nature, meaning it marks a certain generation. For example, the generation born when Neptune transited Scorpio from 1957 to 1970 are fondly referred to as the sex, drugs, and rock and roll generation, as the new social acceptance in all of these areas emerged during these years, and the repression of earlier generations was dissolved in the younger society. We saw the sexual revolution ignite during those years as sexual taboos became outdated and open marriages and other unconventional relationship situations were explored. The proliferation of drugs like marijuana, LSD, psychedelics, and others emerged, and real rock and roll was born with bands like the Rolling Stones, the Doers, Jefferson Airplane, Janis Joplin, Jimi Hendrix, Pink Floyd, and others. And these bands also often merged sex, drugs with rock and roll, making them a new defining force in society. Other areas that came out were scorpionic areas of mysticism. Remember, Neptune is a mystical planet, and Scorpio wants to dive deep. So we saw an awakening of interest in the occult, psychotherapy, and other mind-expanding techniques were embraced. We saw the rise of gurus from India come forth to the West, bringing their form of mysticism, such as transcendental meditation, TM, Shaktipat, and Sanskrit. And speaking of the occult, that was also the time when the Ouija board started to be brought out as a game into society, and kids growing up during that time all were playing the Ouija board. But not me. I felt the bad energy right away. My friends were all loving those Ouija boards, and I said, no way, that summons dark spirits. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. And then if we go back to some other transits of Neptune in different signs of the zodiac, we can track back to when Neptune transited the air sign of Aquarius during 1998 to 2012, which brought out expansive forms of expressing and disseminating ideas, along with shifting modes of communication and technological advances, all that are indicated by air and astrology. There was an explosion of blogging and social media sites on the internet during this period. The internet kind of exploded and everybody needed to have a website. By 1998, websites were still quite rare, but by the end of Neptune in Aquarius 2012, everybody had a website if they had any kind of business or private practice or anything they were trying to sell. And the internet was used during this period as a way to share ideas, thoughts, information, and news. These advancements, with their ability to connect millions worldwide and transcend social barriers like physical distance, reflects the Neptunian oceanic symbolism of dissolving boundaries and fostering unity. And now we're just coming out of Neptune transiting Pisces, which happened from 2011 to 2025. Pisces, a water sign, seeking expansion, knowledge, vision, and faith, symbolizes the emotional realm, compassion, spirituality, and ideals. There was also the evolution of an increased sensitivity to collective ideals relating to social and universal compassion and empathy. For example, the Me Too movement and Black Lives Matter movement, Me Too 2017 and Black Lives Matter 2013, and a wider awareness and appreciation for growing environmental concerns. That was Neptune in Pisces. So for 14 years, since 2011, nebulous Neptune has been swimming through the home seas of Pisces, casting its deceptive glances onto our societies, deluding us with different versions of reality, many based in fantasy and fiction, and blurring boundaries along the way. On a positive note, we saw more compassion coming from some parts of the collective and the rise of yoga and other forms of energy healing. Neptune escapism proliferated with the rise in the use of psychedelics, MMDA, ketamine, and other mind-altering drugs, the increase in alcoholism, especially during and after COVID, the surge of those wanting to experience alternate realities in simulation, cyberspace, video games, and other ways to tune in and tune out. We experienced the frequency wars with the uptick of media, social media, and alternative media all vying for our attention and altering our frequency depending on whether the news was positive, polarizing, dividing, deceptive, fictional, false news, or just being spun specifically for their target audiences. Neptune in Pisces also saw the proliferation of the woo-woo, or pseudo-spiritual, into our societies. And everyone now thinks they are a spiritual teacher or psychic, when prior to Neptune in Pisces, that was looked upon skeptically. Believe me, I know, as I was doing it way, way back in the 90s before people were open to it. Neptune in Pisces brought with it the influx of internet certifications for spiritual or life coaches and counselors, shamans, tarot card reading certifications, spiritual marketing, and gasp, astrology counseling certifications, all for just paying minimally $5,000 to get certified and doing the online training with someone freshly touting themselves as a teacher or expert of whatever modality. I always wonder during this cycle, whatever happened to reading thousands of charts before calling yourself an astrologer, or getting a certification counseling degree from a certifying institute before you call yourself a counselor or coach? Well, with Neptune and Pisces, anything spiritual went unchecked, as the polarity of Pisces Virgo discernment wasn't applied. I'm relieved to say, with Neptune transiting Aries, the proof will be in the pudding. People will want to see results, and they will want to see them fast. So people who are purporting to being coaches, teachers, psychics, they better deliver the goods. Now the question is, what can we expect from the upcoming transit of Neptune through Aries, beginning on March 30th, 2025, through October 22nd, 2025, and then coming back on 1/26/26 through 3/23/2039. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac, marking a new cycle, so the karmic retributions will come fast and furious to be burnt through. Aries is ruled by Mars, giving courage, impulsiveness, and pioneering spirit. The interaction of Neptune and Aries will be an interesting dynamic, as Neptune's dissolving and spiritualizing influence tempers Aries' impulsive and perhaps rash actions. This will be a balancing act between bold action and what's in the best interest for the greater good. Bold action from Aries, greater good from Neptune. On a global and broader level, Neptune in Aries ignites shifts in leadership, innovation, and governance. We will truly see a changing of the guard as the old order of global leadership dissolves and the new wave of hopefully enlightened rulers step up. The overseers of government and management of nations will change as new authorities come into power, for better or for worse, including the rise of dictatorship and control. We will also see religiously based rulers or movements trying to vie for power. Fanatical and religious zealot types will try to be leaders and come into power. Also, the rise of cults, more, as people try to escape Neptune into what will be portrayed as loving, safe havens from what's happening out there in that crazy world. Well, it's not a stretch to suggest that the evangelical religious right movement will make a power grab in the United States, as that is the impetus behind Project 2025, which seems to be perpetuated by the current group in power in the U.S. On a positive note, there will be many innovative developments, including inventions and other ways to make life easier and faster. Aries is a fast sign and moves quickly. Aries' trailblazing energy, coupled with Neptune's genius, could drive advancements in technology, bold political reforms, and economic restructuring. Tensions will surely arise as Aries' assertiveness clashes with Neptune's easy-peasy spiritual attitudes. This period will emphasize resiliency and adaptability. During Neptune's transit through Aries, we may initially encounter frustration in pursuing personal goals as structures we thought to rely upon dissolve. This period offers powerful opportunity for growth and flexibility. Neptune in astrology is associated with emotional, transcendent, intangible, and nebulous states and qualities, and the spiritual and imaginative dimensions of life. It signifies universality and the unbounded, an impulse toward merging into wholes, dissolution, fogs and mists, confusion, escapism, and deception, as well as compassion, mysticism, healing, beauty, and bliss. Neptune associated with fantasy, deception, and delusion, what initially appears as ideal or perfect may ultimately fall short once the Neptunian fog dissipates. So as we go into Neptune and Aries, things that we thought were going to be okay, or we thought that they were helpful, they could reveal as smoke screens to show just the opposite. Neptune in Aries, ruled by fiery Mars, the planet of the warrior archetype, expresses its significations with a martial quality, and matters can manifest in quick, changing, or sudden ways. Themes of willpower, individuation, courage, impulse, heat, ambition, decisiveness, passion, and a fighting spirit come to the fore, as well as how to turn a dream or vision into action. There could be emotional, physical, spiritual, religious, creative, or collectively oriented goals or experiences, which may feel inspiring or exciting and promise a richer, deeper connection to your own sense of inner strength and willpower, or a sense of belonging to something of greater purpose. On a collective level, we may see expressions of this through music, film, the arts, sporting, or spiritually oriented activities. Illusory or delusional states of being are not uncommon with Neptune transits. The realistic outcome of idealism aroused under a Neptune transit may not eventually live up to expectations. There are things that come forth from us personally and collectively with a Neptunian transit, especially with Aries. We're going to feel the divine imaginative spark. The element of fire is associated with inspiration and creative spark. Aries represents a pioneering, bold, and entrepreneurial spirit, and Neptune is linked to imagination and going beyond the boundaries of reality of the mundane world. So I'm thinking we're going to see a lot of changes in the film industry, which is ruled by Neptune, going into a new phase, really using the medium to help people feel something warm and fuzzy besides what they may be experiencing in their life or out in the world. We'll see a big shift in the whole movie and film industry, and also even with the people who run it or are in power in that industry. There's going to be a very big changing of the guard there, as well in the governments around the world. Neptune in Aries connects a passion and drive to achieve, to act, to express, to be daring and adventurous, to the imaginative, creative, fantastical, the unknown, or the spiritual. As a result, we could expect to see pioneering visions or innovations and an adventurous desire to seek truth, going beyond previous boundaries into unknown realms with courage, whether that's spiritually or in relationship to the physical world. To boldly go where no man has gone before. In the wider world, this may correlate with developments or innovations regarding Neptunian significations of water, liquids, gases, air, poisons, or matters concerning heat, power, fire, or conflict, all which Aries represents. The passion and heat of this martial sign, with the expansive and idealist quality of Neptune, can reveal a desire to feel noble, heroic, empowered, or in control. And that might be considered admirable or worthy in some areas of life during this transit. Additionally, the individualistic nature of Aries may be in tension with the unifying impulse of Neptune. Whilst Neptune expresses universality and collectivism, Aries has an individualistic and separating quality, suggesting a possible tension between a desire for collective focus and unity and the need for individual expression and determination at the same time. That's right, narcissisms are going to want it all for themselves. Neptune softens, blurs, and dissolves hard edges and boundaries, potentially softening dominance or aggression, promoting compassion, empathy, and understanding. Neptune in Aries can generate a gentle strength and actions aimed at pacifism, dissolving force, and taming egos. Finding balance between strength and compassion will be the key. The qualities of both Neptune and Mars can be productive if managed carefully. With Neptune in Aries, it's not unreasonable to expect to see people getting swept up in a vision or belief, often idealizing strong, just, or heroic figures or actions. There may be some very charismatic and magnetic figures or leaders that come to the fore with long-term impacts personally or collectively. But the shadow side of Neptune in Aries can reveal overblown egos, exaggeration, manipulation, and deceit in order to feel empowered. So we'll wait and see, or we'll see what evolves from Neptune and Pisces as it goes into Aries. Stay tuned for the part of the podcast you've been waiting for, what Neptune and Aries means for each sun sign. This is based on the solar chart for each zodiac sign, meaning that sign is the first sign in the zodiac wheel, and then it is analyzed where Aries falls in which house of the chart. So stay tuned. Are you interested in natural health and regenerative healing? Do you want to work with vibration to heal your body? Check out this patented wearable light technology at www.lifewave.com/JillJar. LifeWave is a company that has patches that you wear. So it's not transdermal, you're not taking anything in. And what these patches do, they activate your body's light. It's called biomodulation. And that light is activated, your body starts producing GHK, copper peptides, which in turn activates stem cell production. That's right. So wearing these patches will regenerate your body, reflects your body's light back into your tissues, and you become more vital, energized, reduce pain, inflammation, improvement of sleep, increased strength are all possibilities. Other benefits could be hair quality, rapid wound healing, mental clarity, increased joy and stamina, your skin appearance and wrinkles could go away. Again, all probable and possible depending on your chemistry. Others have enjoyed increased sports performance and recovery and restored muscle or skeletal conditions. Check it out at lifewave.com/JillJar and order yours today. Here we are, what Neptune and Aries means for each sun sign. And as I mentioned, this is based on the solar chart for each zodiac, meaning that sign is the first sign in the zodiac wheel, and then it is analyzed where Aries falls in which house of the chart. Houses 1 through 12, each house representing a different arena of life and experience. Here we go, Aries. Tag you're at Aries. Neptune will travel through your sign until 2039. Initially, you may undergo an identity crisis, asking the universal question, who am I? Both in a questioning, logical way, as well as existentially. Structures of your life may dismantle and dissolve in front of your eyes. Everything in your life will be reevaluated to see if it is worth keeping. That means relationships will be tested to see if they can hold up with these new energies affecting you personally. Also, please take good care of your health as symptoms or issues can arise, so don't put off getting medical attention or seeing your health practitioners. Neptune loves to mine for your hidden gifts deep in your subconscious. Your artistic side could blossom under Neptune's watch, or you could unearth a passion for empowering people who weren't blessed with as good fortune as you. Taurus. Neptune is transiting through your house of karma, the 12th house in your solar chart. Misty Neptune heads into Aries and your mystical 12th house. Start listening to the messages from your soul. This otherworldly glow will accompany you in the coming years. Your grounded and earthy nature may be confused about this cycle of release and surrender. Yet, this is a fertile period for deep self-reflection and heartfelt exploration. Neptune's romantic and creative influence could lead you to fall deeply in love with yourself or with a partner who perfectly aligns with your current state of growth. For men, this may manifest as attracting your anima or your inner female as a mate out there in the world. For women, your inner male may appear unexpectedly, showing up in his sleek white sports car when you least expect it. Gemini. Neptune transits your house of friends, association, groups, and the future. Perhaps you have outgrown certain friends or associations, or there are lessons to learn that friends and groups will teach you. Compassionate Neptune awakens your activism, and you will be guided to stand up, stand up, stand up for your rights and others who are being shortchanged. You will consider changing careers or adjusting your calling to encompass more visionary or forward-thinking groups of people and perhaps make a difference in society. You will find your tribe and thrive on new ideas and collaborations. Cancer. Neptune will throw an aspect to your sun called the square in astrology, which tends to be challenging. In the next few years, there will be dissolution, especially for those born in the early part of Cancer from June 21st to July 5th. You'll be impacted and have challenges. Specifically, those June Cancers will feel the square from both Saturn and Neptune transiting Aries in 2026. Neptune transits your house of career, so you may experience disillusionment, dismantling, or dissolution in your job or career. You may be forced to make changes, or your job goes away. Thanks, Elon Musk. You could use this transit to recreate your career life if you have been unhappy in your job or chosen path. Neptune may connect you to your true dharma or life purpose. Prepare to cultivate a deeper alignment with your life's true calling. Now is the time to shift your focus from simply chasing achievements or money to creating a life rooted in inner peace and balance. Be mindful of codependency and tendency to take on other burdens in the workplace, as this could lead to burnout. Leo. Neptune transits your house of education and travel, stirring up the desires to explore new adventures in life. Journeys far and wide beckon you. Retreats by the water, on the water, or in the water are beneficial now. There may be new trainings or educational pursuits or degrees to pursue. Your dreams may inspire you to venture to distant corners of the world, sparking a desire to explore, study, or even relocate. Your spiritual and intellectual boundaries will expand. Be careful for Neptune's penchant for creating illusory realities. Not everything is as it appears. Approach new ideas, sudden opportunities, trends, people seeking your attention, and gurus with discernment. Virgo. Neptune transits your house of death, rebirth, and transformation, so all of this is on your menu in the coming years. Purge and purge and purge some more as Neptune plunges the depths of your subconscious. Transformation at all costs is your Aries fire cry. With Neptune there, you will experience psychological deaths and may lose people close to you in your life. However, there is constant rebirthing as well. Transform your relationship to money and use this transit to understand what your money mindset is. Dissolve those financial blocks or subconscious programs that interfere with attracting more into your life. Libra. Those born in the early part of Libra, September 21st to October 5th, will be impacted and may have some challenges in the next few years from Neptune opposing your natal sun. Specifically, those September Libras will feel the square from Saturn and Neptune, both transiting Aries in the next few years. Neptune transits your relationship house, so there will be tests in relationship. A relationship or marriage could end, but true romance can also find you. Watch for codependence or draining relationships. Ideally, the giving and receiving in relationships are in a balanced flow, and no one is taking too much. Watch for overgiving or self-sacrificing to maintain relationship. With nebulous Neptune in the dynamic sign of Aries, you may find yourself rethinking what commitment, love, and partnership means to you. Scorpio. Neptune transits your house of health and service. The focus is on work and wellness. This is time to be vigilant with your health and take good care of your physical body. Respond to any health issues or symptoms promptly. Don't put off visits to doctors or other health practitioners. Tweak your diet regime and supplements. You are entering a phase where you need to rethink your approach to self-care, work, and how you organize your daily life. While exploring more creative and spiritual methods for work and health, it is essential to stay committed to your routines or implement new effective ones. Create systems that keep you grounded, especially as Neptune's influence seeks to blur the structure of your everyday life. Sagittarius. Neptune transits your house of children of body, mind, or spirit, recreation, and creativity. It's time to turn the focus to your creative aspirations and find ways to bring them to fruition. You can infuse more imagination and wonder into your life. For your optimistic, forward-thinking nature, this will enhance your desire to embrace the mystical. You reap the benefits of this new open-mindedness that enhances both left and right brain hemispheres of functioning. Source the depths of your subconscious to unlock creative inspiration. The next 14 years will bring incredible offerings to share your work, gain recognition, and expand your following. Capricorn. Neptune will throw an aspect to your sun called the square in astrology, which tends to be challenging, especially those born in the early part of Capricorn from December 21st to January 5th. You'll be impacted over the next few years, and those December Capricorns will feel the square from Saturn and Neptune, both transiting in Aries, squaring your sun. Neptune is transiting your house of home and family. Sometimes one has to move when Neptune transits the fourth house due to circumstances out of their control. It's a good time to fix any insidious problems with your home or dwelling. Or situations or issues with your home could come up during this cycle, such as flooding, leaks, gas, or oil problems, all ruled by Neptune. You might find yourself having more responsibilities with family members, whether aging parents or family members who become ill. When Neptune moving through the foundational area of your chart, you may feel a sense of instability, especially as someone who values structure and security. Embrace this as an opportunity to dive deep into your subconscious, heal subconscious patterns, ancestral patterns, and DNA. This is your chance to establish roots in a new way that feels truly aligned, nourishing, and sustainable. Aquarius. Neptune transits your house of siblings, communication, transportation, and education. Your communications could be more powerful than usual, and you might find an outlet for writing or speaking. While you are the intellect of the zodiac, this transit invites you to explore more fluid and intuitive realms of thought and expression. You jump between the intellectual left brain and intuitive right brain with ease. Your innate wisdom can now be eloquently expressed. Tap into this enhanced inner vision as you find yourself on a transcendent quest. You may yearn for deeper emotional connections. Your creative expression and psychic awareness reaches new heights. Be sure to document this journey. It's a ride that only lasts 14 years. Pisces, Neptune transiting your house of money, resources, and values makes you get very prudent and attentive to where you are spending your money. Watch for leaky boat syndrome, where money comes in but flows right out again. You may notice your value system changing and what you spend your money on. What you had spent your money on is no longer appealing to you. Your relationship with money and possessions undergoes a profound transformation. Simply opening to new approaches to earning and managing money can change your life for better. It's a great time to book a reading. So check out my website, JillJardineAstrology.com/shop, and pick the kind of reading or service you would like. I hope you enjoyed this episode on the epic transit of Neptune through the sign Aries from 2025 to 2039. Remember to download, subscribe, share, and give us a 5-star review. This is Cosmic Scene with Jill Jardine signing out, sending Neptunian waves of inspiration, creativity, and light through the quantum field.